Excellent. So hi, I'm Frankie. I don't have any slides. I will be very brief. I work on Web3.js, and we've been working on it for a couple months now. So we have a couple pretty big announcements that we'd like to make here at this meetup, and one of them is that you can expect in the next week a major version bump that is pretty mellow in theory. If you guys are using Web3, it will be removing and deprecating the packages BZZ and SHA. And then the next thing that I would like to talk about is that Wyatt and I have been working on rewriting the library and updating it to modern JavaScript. It's been very fascinating and an interesting experience coming onto a library that is, sorry, that is a little bit legacy and maybe a little more than legacy. And so we're just trying to bring it up to speed along with, hopefully, if we can get it there, a new feature that we're calling .use. If you guys want to track the project, I have like an aggregate issue on the project that I can drop here in the link. The idea would be to get to like not be as responsible for maintaining a lot of packages, because it's not, for an open source library, it's not very sustainable to maintain a bunch of packages you don't necessarily have your feet in the door with. So then there we go. In the case of the .use, it would make the core Web3 library much smaller and much lighter weight, and allow very just like easy code, nothing super complicated. I want to make it more like Express, where you just like import in libraries that you want to use that need a provider, and then Web3 will primarily be used to like maintain shared providers. That being said, I'm not getting rid of like the way it stands now, except for Buzz and SHA. The Web3 that you would normally import will still be the same. It will still have .eth and .net and all of those things, minus BZZ and SHA. It'll just be that you'll be able to also import something on your own called Web3 Core, which will be a very, very lightweight module that you can then import separately all of the packages. And he didn't talk about it much, but Wyatt did actually create an ETH2 package that works with the ETH2 client beacon chain. And so if maybe, for example, you wanted to write your own packages as well and have that available for the community, because it's important to push community effort, then you can write a package that just like follows this really simple set, like have a name, things like that. And then you should be able to get your provider from Web3 Core. Cool. Any questions, anyone? Was I heard?
Yeah, I think we did hear you. If anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to raise your hands. Make sure to
update your major versions. That's all. Next one's version 3. Look for it on a GitHub near you.
I've got a question.
Yeah, go.
So what does this mean for like the upgrade path for people using Web3?
In what sense? Like going from version 1 to version 3 or 4?
Yeah. Just trying to get
yeah,
like
so
a sense.
Going from, no, go ahead.
Just trying to get a sense of like, how extreme of a difference it would be.
Ideally, for actual API usage, there's not a huge change. That being said, I do want to see like the TypeScript updated so that it's not buggy. But the one major thing to look out for, I guess, would be going from all these like number strings to like actual either BN or the native big number that is provided now in JavaScript. That's like the major one. Other than that, there shouldn't be too much of a difference. But that's a pretty big difference. But mainly it was just we were left with, we're currently working on, Wyatt is a great guy, currently working on trying to fix this, like one of the gas limits sometimes gas limit is too big and it comes out as an integer and it breaks on a really, you know, basic thing, which is like the integer is too big. But we inherited a lot of these problems, and we're going to try and fix them by doing the right thing, which is using either hex strings or big numbers. So more things like that than things like the actual, like you'll see new, like it's very unlikely you'll see new methods for like .eth, or that the order in which the arguments are in is totally different. There will be little things that'll change that'll probably not affect the average user. And so that's like more about how the current base class works. Since there isn't a concept of like inheritance or class in Web3.js right now, trying to write that in has been really entertaining, because one thing that I've learned, which I was not stoked to learn about, was that every method has its own this context. For those of you who don't understand that, I know that this might be a little weird to hear. Every method is its own class in a way. And so trying to sort that out has forced me to make major changes throughout the code, but it doesn't necessarily change the API per se for like send transactions. Like that'll be the same as it was, or as it has to be, because I guess that there's also an update in the EIP for that, but you know, does that answer your question? Hopefully not much, unless you use DZZ or SHA, in which case you're fucked.
Yeah, it answers my question.
Great. You might get to delete some lines of code, like all those changing, like you know, numbers and hexes around. That could be fun. I like deleting lines of code.
Who doesn't?